Well, the first thing to remember is that these students, like any other students, have developed their own learning style, which means that they tend to compensate their difficulties with some personal strategies. For instance, I noticed that many dyslexic students have a global learning style, which means that they try to get some general information from the context, and they don't even need to read the whole text because they try to get information from the surrounding context, for instance pictures or the title or the first line of each paragraph. And I think this is a good strategy for a foreign language learner. Moreover, these students also often have a visual style, visual learning style, which means that they benefit from pictures and photos and videos, because this type of prompts help them get more information from the non-linguistic context. The second thing to remember is that maybe language analysis will remain a difficult area for this student. Since dyslexic students suffer from poor phonological awareness skills, especially in a foreign language context, they will find it very hard to catch the strange sounds of the new language. For this reason, maybe the explicit teaching of some sounds of the foreign language can be effective, because it is a good strategy to enhance students' phonological awareness skills even in the foreign language. The third aspect that needs to be kept in mind is that students with specific learning needs most of the times haven't automatized some procedures, so they have trouble in making some procedures automatic. Let me provide an example. Let's think about taking notes. When we take notes in our native language, we have to focus on many tasks simultaneously. For instance, we need to activate the auditory channel, we need to listen, we need to understand what is being said and try to summarize it in some way, maybe with some keynotes, and then we have to write the keynotes down. But while we're doing all these tasks, we actually don't think about how things are spelled, because writing down things is an automatic task for us. Of course, this type of task, this supposedly simple task, is not that simple for a dyslexic student who hasn't automatized this procedure. An automatization deficit affects not only receptive skills but also production skills. For instance, it may affect the student's readiness to communication and fluency in the foreign language. Of course, these students would benefit from some language prompts, such as revision sheets in which the key language is summarized with diagrams or pictures, and we also try to summarize the key language, the key expressions and words which are useful for a specific situation or for a role play, for instance. Well, actually there is a lot of strategies that a teacher can use in order to support these students. In my experience, a language activity which is suitable for this student should have at least 3 main features. The first feature is that the language activity needs to be multisensory, which means we need to activate as many sensory channels as possible, which means visual channels, auditory channels, and possibly physical response. This is very important because we have seen so far that in these students the language channel is not fully activated, not fully active. So, of course, a multisensory activity that activates more than one channel have better chances to reach these students. Second, a good language activity should have a monoskill focus. As I said before, dyslexic students have problems in automatizing procedures, so they have problems in managing more than one language skills at a time, at the same time. So, in a foreign language context, a rubric like reading, listen, and answer the questions is an inaccessible activity because it activates three different language skills at the same time. On the contrary, a rubric like listen and take the words you hear is more accessible because there is only one language skill plus some non-linguistic activity like the action of ticking the words. Of course, the exercise would be even more accessible if we have words accompanied by pictures. Third, the more the exercise is structured, the better. In other words, if the task is too free or non-guided, the student will probably get lost, wasting an incredible amount of time in trying to retrieve words and expressions from memory. So free activities like role plays or free written compositions are to be avoided, or at least we should allow students to use some language prompts like revision sheets with the keywords or the key expressions to be used in the composition or in the role play. I would like to conclude this interview with a famous quotation by George Evans, according to whom every student can learn, just not on the same day or the same way. So I think that teaching foreign language to students with specific learning needs means helping them find their own way for learning.